Welcome everybody to another episode of Making Hay with JRA. It is Tuesday afternoon, 12 noon Eastern Time. We come to you every Tuesday, every Thursday at 12 noon to bring you tips, tricks, and the latest trends in the junk removal industry. I am Lee Godbold. This is Junk Removal Authority, and you are all Making Hay with JRA. We got Aaron, the video extraordinaire, running the show on the back end. If you guys have any questions or comments that you'd like us to address throughout this episode, please leave it either on Facebook or YouTube. If you guys are watching us on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button and let us know, give us the thumbs up or thumbs down whether or not you like today's episode. The JRA call center is your way to regaining freedom in your life. Those of you guys that are building up a junk removal business, that phone gets to ringing, you got to answer it. If you're not answering it, you're missing out on business. The JRA call center is a great way to regain freedom in your life, and almost in all cases, we can book jobs at a higher percentage than you yourself likely can. So the cost of the call center could be almost zero once you account for the extra jobs we can book for you. So give us a call, 919-617-1975, or check us out at JunkRA.com if you're interested in that call center. All right. So I want to roll into a question that we'd had last week. We had just missed it at the very end of the episode. We had gone off air, and then Hunt Fish posed this question. And he asked about permits and licenses needed for your truck, and does he need commercial automobile insurance? So the permits and licenses that you need depend on where you're at. Some areas are going to require a waste hauler's permit. In California, you're going to need a CA number. To get the CA number, you'll also need a DOT number as well. Now, the DOT number, a lot of people think they need a DOT number because their vehicle weighs over 10,000 pounds. Let's read the exact definition from the FMCSA website. That's the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration. They're the ones that issue the DOT numbers, the US DOT numbers. Okay. So in general, a U.S. DOT number is required if you're operating in interstate commerce. I want to highlight this, interstate. And some people think, well, I drive on interstates, I'm in interstate commerce. That's not correct. Interstate commerce is if you go from one state to the next. If you go from North Carolina to South Carolina, if you go from Georgia to Florida, if you go from New York to New Jersey, that would be interstate commerce. And this is if you're operating for hire. So if you're in an area like in Charlotte where we go between North Carolina and South Carolina, we have to have a DOT permit because of that. If you guys are staying in your very own state, you do not need a US DOT number. Further, it says you have vehicles that are over 10,000 pounds. That is correct. We do have that. You transport between 9 and 15 passengers, including the driver for compensation, whether direct or indirect. We don't transport passengers, not that many. You transport 16 or more passengers, or we haul hazardous materials. So we do none of this. Now, some of you guys, this hazardous material stuff, you might haul hazardous materials a little bit. When paint, motor oil, antifreeze, we don't do it, but some people do. But the key thing here is interstate commerce. Now, the FMCSA, Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration, has given us a nifty little tool. You can go on here, do I need a US DOT number? And then you can answer these questions. Are you a motor carrier transporting property or passengers in commerce? Yes, we are. But we are not, are we an interstate carrier? We're not. We're an intrastate carrier. And then you've got some other questions here, but we're an interstate carrier. We do not carry hazardous materials. Now, this is the key right here. You've got to do some research in your own state. Does my state require me to obtain a US DOT number? California is one. I'm sure there's others. I'm just aware of California. If you go through and you answer all these questions, at the very end, it's going to tell you if you need a US DOT number. It's going to tell you how to apply for one. Go through this to check it out. You don't want to get pulled over. If you are required for a US DOT number, you don't want to be pulled over and find out from a highway patrolman that you're required, because you're going to be getting a fine. So I can tell you, any of you guys operating in multiple states, you're definitely going to need one if one truck operates in multiple states. The other question that Hunt Fish had was on commercial automobile insurance. All right, so if you are going out and you're driving for hire, you need a commercial auto policy. Some of you guys, I guarantee quite a few of our listeners and watchers have driven for Uber or Lyft. And you get notifications in the mail for your personal automobile insurance, most people do, that clearly states if you drive in one of these rideshare programs, Uber, Lyft, I think there's another one just recently popped up. If you drive in one of those, you are not covered if you get in an accident. Now, I think Uber and Lyft might have some sort of their own little supplemental insurance going on. I'm not positive. But the main thing is if you drive for hire, you need commercial auto insurance. If you guys running around on a personal liability policy, personal auto policy, get in a wreck, and let's say it kills somebody, injures somebody to significant property damage, the insurance company will look into the fact that you have a personal policy and you apparently are operating for hire. They will research online. They'll check Craigslist. They'll check the internet. They'll find your website and they'll figure out you're a company and you are not on a commercial auto policy. They'll deny the claim. You could be on the hook for hundreds of thousands of dollars if you seriously injured somebody because you did not get a commercial auto policy. So yes, you definitely need commercial auto. I don't care if it's a pickup truck and trailer. I don't care if it's a box truck or a dump truck, whatever. Or if it's an S10 pickup truck and you're out for hire, you need a commercial auto policy. We got any questions, Aaron?
Yeah, we've got Good Karma on here. And
Mike, what's up, Mike?
And Mike's asking if there was ever a point that you felt Junk Doctors wasn't gonna make it.
Yeah, man, dude, you got self-doubt all the time. I don't know, maybe 3 months ago. I mean, I don't know. I mean, no, 3 months ago, I knew we went through, we were having some issues, had a couple accidents or something like that. But I certainly knew I was going to make it at that point. But yeah, I mean, dude, self-doubt, anytime you get out of your comfort zone, you're trying to do something that you haven't before. You're trying to grow your business, you're investing money in something, man, you're going to have self-doubt. I have self-doubt some with JRA. I crush it just as quick as I can. Actually, we'll address that a little bit later in this episode. Yeah, I mean, sometimes something's going to pop in your head and you're going to worry, hey, is this thing not going to work out? But you got to crush it, and then you got to look at the positive things you have going on, and then you have to be analytical, not emotional, when you think about the future of your business a lot of times. Any other questions?
Not right now.
All right. So, and Mike, we're going to actually, that's on my agenda is to talk a little bit about that moving forward. So, how can you, a lot of guys come to us, and you know, Junk Doctors does close to $2.5 million a year now. We're on pace to do $2.5 million this year. And, you know, we make a great bit of money on that. But a lot of guys get in business, and I was this way when I first got in business. The first thing I wanted to do is I wanted to make like $50,000 a year. So, we'll say $1,000 a week. How can you make $1,000 a week in junk removal? The first thing you got to do is you got to do the math on it. So I've got us a spreadsheet right here, and we're going to go through a couple different scenarios on what's required to get to where you're making $52,000 a year. That's $1,000 a month in junk removal. Let's see if I can carry this over into a new tab. And I'll just work off this one. Okay. So first thing you got to do, guys, is you got to know your numbers. You got to know your expenses. You got to know your income. The expenses are done as a percentage of how much money you make. The most important factor, the most important number in this whole deal, two most important numbers is what's your acquisition cost for the customer, and then what is your average job cost. Average job solves everything. If you get that average job cost up by $20, you are all of a sudden making $20 more per job than you were before. If you're doing 10 jobs a week, if you're just able to raise up that average by $20, you're making $200 more per year. You're making $10,000, or not 200 more per year. You're making 200 more per week. You're making $10,000 more per year. You just got to do. You got to really understand that average job is huge. So when we go through these numbers, most of you guys, if you're looking to make $50,000 a year, you're on the truck. So these numbers are done with you on the truck, not with two guys on there. All right, disposal fees are normally going to run about 9% of your income. Fuel about 6%. Labor, again, guys, just you on the truck with one other person helping you out. This labor number is at 18% because you're probably going to be answering the phone some too. That's going to slow you down. But you're also probably going to be working a little bit quicker than the average, than maybe a lot of your helpers will as well. And you'll be able to keep your helper motivated because the boss is on the truck with them. All right, vehicle wear and tear / truck payment going to run about 4%. Insurance 5%. Credit card fees 2%. Other miscellaneous expenses and tools 2%. That's your total expense percentage of your income at 46%. So what I did on here is a cost to acquire customers. Now, Google, this has you at 85% $85 to acquire one customer. Craigslist is going to be less. Google in some areas will be more. Google ads might cost you 100, a little bit over 100 sometimes. Sometimes it might cost you 40 or 50. But on average, 85, because it's also, if you're getting previous customers, that's going to dilute this down as well. Which, if any of you guys have been in business for any length of time and you're doing a good job, you're going to be getting previous customers. So if you come down here and your average job, the average hauler in the U.S. that's not a franchise, your average non-franchised hauler, their job's around 250 to 280. So I've got this at 250. 250 is low, guys. If you guys are at 250, you're low on this. But you still can make $52,000 a year, $1,000 per week. Even at 250, you're just going to have to do more jobs. So at 250, after you allow for your acquisition cost, so after you've gotten this job, it's cost you $85 to get it. You've paid all expenses, so on and so forth. You are earning about $50 per job. That means you're going to need to do 1,000 jobs in a year. You're going to need to do 83 jobs in a month, and you're going to need to work about 250 hours every month, or about 63 hours per week on junk removal. Now, I got these hours from figuring each junk removal job on average between drive time, load time, and unload time is about 3 hours. Some jobs more, some jobs less, obviously, about 3 hours. If anything, that's a little bit on the conservative end. Now, this picture gets a hell of a lot better once you get that average job cost up, because 63 hours a week, guys, that's just job time. That's just job time. You're going to have other, now that does include, if you're answering the phone on the job, that's more or less allocated for. But if you're going to have truck maintenance, you're going to have meeting with customers, you're going to, or meeting with clients, you're going to have bookkeeping, you're going to have other stuff that needs to get done. Realistically, you're probably closer to 75 or 80 hours a week working or making $52,000 a year. That ain't on a regular paying job. That ain't but $26,000 a year on 40 hours. We gotta get that average job up. The picture gets a hell of a lot better just by increasing that average job by $50. All of a sudden, when you average $300 per job, you're making $77 per job. You need 649 jobs in a year, 54 jobs in a month, 162 hours in a month. You ain't working but 40 hours a week, plus your other time, so maybe 50 or 55. So that picture gets a lot better. You know, it's probably worth working 15 hours more a week than you would at a full-time job making $52,000 a year just to have some extra freedom in your life. Picture gets a lot better. Junk doctors, we average about 350. Got junk averages about 400 around the country. So we're at 350. We need to do we're making 104 per job. We need 480 jobs in a year, 40 jobs in a month, 120 hours worked, ain't but 30 hours a week worked to get to $52,000 a year if you're earning $350 per job. The $400 one, I'm not going to break it down even further, but $400, you're only going to need 380 jobs in a year. Guys, you ain't working but 23 hours a week. That average job, y'all get the average job up, here's what's going to happen. You're going to make your life better because you're going to be able to work less and make more, and you're going to drive the industry price as a whole up. If all the junk removal companies got together and all of us, or at least the ones that are on the lower end driving some of the costs down, if you guys got together and you drove the costs up 15%, 20%, everybody is going to be better off. Everybody in junk removal is going to be better off by raising up that average job. $52,000 a year is possible anywhere throughout the country. Any market throughout the country, you can earn $52K a year with junk removal. Any questions? We got it all?
Yeah. If YouTube will unfreeze. So Dana Hassan, I'm going to paraphrase here, stated that he currently runs a tree care and landscape business, and he's gotten into junk removal. So he's asking at what point should you just completely separate the businesses, and he or she, Dana could be either.
If you're doing junk removal just on the side, like if your tree companies are if your tree customers are asking about junk removal, or you volunteer to do some junk removal for them, you could probably keep that under your tree business. But if you were going to start advertising for junk removal, I would break them apart right in the middle. As soon as you start getting a significant amount of jobs, I mean, if it's like 1 or 2 junk removal jobs a week and it came from tree business, I probably wouldn't take the time to spread that out. But if you are advertising your junk removal business, I would go ahead and spread it out. Here's why. You want to have an accurate P&L. You want to know what your junk removal business is earning you. If you're treating it like an actual business, you want to know what you earn from junk removal and what you earn from the tree business. The other thing is the tree business insurance is going to be significantly higher than junk removal. So you're going to have to track your employees' hours separately. It's almost easier just to have two separate employees, those for junk removal, those for the tree stuff. I realize when you first start, you're probably blending that together. Just make sure you're tracking those hours separately, because workers' comp is going to be it's going to be a lot higher for tree service and junk removal. You good on questions? Okay. All right. So, Mike, one of the things you asked earlier in this episode was if I'd ever had self-doubt, not thinking junk doctors or JRA or whatever was not going to make it. Yeah, if there's any entrepreneur out there that tells you at some point they have not had self-doubt, even if it's just for a few seconds, they're lying. You're going to have self-doubt. It's human nature. You're going to have self-doubt from time to time. What you have to do is you have to look at it analytically rather than emotionally. So, are you getting calls? If your phone is ringing, you got momentum. You got things going for you. Or are you getting jobs? Are these calls booking into jobs? If that's the case, you've got momentum. Things are building. These customers are going to use you again. Or people if you're running Facebook ads. Some people, I read something on Facebook the other day. A guy tried out Facebook ads for 6 days and said it didn't work. Guys, you can't expect anything in 6 days in business. There's never just one thing. You're not going to run Facebook ads or Google ads or whatever, and all of a sudden your business in 6 days is going to be turned around. You could have timed that thing at a slow point. You could have timed it at a busy point. Just because it works for 6 days doesn't mean it's going to keep working. Just because it doesn't work for 6 days doesn't mean it doesn't work. So you guys are way too emotional in this deal. You're running one direction. You're turning another. You got a damn huge zigzag going on. It needs to be a gentle river. You make little pivots as you learn, as you get data. You need to be analytical. If people now on the Facebook ad end of things, you got to have a really, really, really noticeable Facebook ad. It can't just be a picture of your truck. It can't be a picture of your guys. It can't be a spreadsheet or a snapshot of different jobs that you do. It's got to be something that gets their attention. It's probably not anything related to junk removal either. Are you profitable now? If you're earning money now, if you're getting calls, you're getting jobs, and you're still profitable at the moment, you've got momentum. It's going to work out. Are your customers happy? This is huge. If you're doing work, if the phones are ringing, you're getting jobs, but your customers are unhappy, then you got a problem, because your momentum stops. You get that one customer, and one customer, you're not going to make a successful business off just one job. You have to scale this thing where customers use you again and again. You're adding new customers, and you have old. That's the only way you're going to make it in junk removal, in any business really, or in most businesses anyway. So make sure your customers are happy. Follow-up calls. If you guys aren't on all the jobs, give them follow-up calls. Follow up on every single customer to make sure they're happy. If they are happy, you've got momentum. Things are going to work out. Are you getting referral business? This is the ultimate pledge or pledge of approval, whatever you're going to call it. This is the ultimate approval for your customers. If they're recommending friends and family to your business, that means you're doing a great job. That means you got some serious momentum going on. Repeat business is the other thing. If these people come back and use you again, you got serious momentum going on. If you answer all these questions and you think about everything else that you've got going on, if you're doing Google Ads and Google Ads is profitable, it's bringing in some work, you got momentum, guys. Facebook ads, you got momentum. If your Craigslist ads are bringing jobs, you got momentum. Take care of those customers. They're going to come back and they're going to use you again. Momentum times time equals success. I'm going to write this up here again. This is a formula for you to think about. M times T equals success. Y'all get that momentum going. Y'all put time in it. That means, and obviously, the more time you add, the more success you have. So if you got the same amount of momentum going on, and you get to year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5, that's going to equal success. If you can multiply this momentum by adding in new advertising methods, getting that average job cost up, so on and so forth, that's going to allow you to get more success without adding more time. Now, the only outside variable to this is going to be some sort of change in the economy, a catastrophic event. At that point, you can just, if we have a huge catastrophic event, then this thing, at least for the moment, goes out of the table, or goes off the table, but eventually it'll come back and eventually it'll start turning around. Momentum times time equals success. If you guys ever have self-doubt, think about the good things you got going on, and think about the fact that you keep sticking with it. This thing's going to turn around and you're going to be super, super successful. If you can stay extremely focused on constantly improving your one business for a period of 10 years, I will show you a business that is world class, or at least the standard for their area. The problem is most people lose attention. They can focus in on something for a year, maybe 3 years, and then all of a sudden they lose attention. And when you lose attention, you lose momentum. When you lose momentum, you're going to start losing your success. We got any last questions before we sign off here, Aaron?
Yep. We've got one in on Facebook from Damon, and Damon asks, $85 is with all the ads you run per customer?
Yeah, on average about 85. We've got some stuff that might cost us $110, $115 to get. We have some stuff that cost us 40 or 50, and then we've got previous customers that come in. 85, like Junk Doctors, we're lower than 85 if you average in our previous customers now, because we're over 50% repeat business. But for most new businesses trying to get to that $52,000 a year income, you're going to average somewhere around $85, maybe a bit more per customer. Got any other questions? All right, last minute questions, guys, before we sign off. If you got any last minute questions, please put them up there.
Yep, just got a couple in. Awesome, Dana. That's great. Doing an average of 6,000 in junk removal service a month over the last 6 months. And Good Karma asks, what are your thoughts on Home Advisor opportunity leads? My contact said to leave them alone, but I'm not doing very good.
The Home Advisor opportunity ones we have turned off. We tried them there for a while, and all right, the reason ours is turned off is because we have multiple locations, so it was difficult for our call center reps to be logged in to the app as soon as those came in so we could respond to them immediately. If you're slow though, do them. I mean, you've got one location, Mike. Just react to those things just as quick as you can, and then you should have some decent success with them. We good? Okay, great. All right, guys. Last again, this call center, everybody's going to be picking up. Those of you guys that April's a weird month. April can be really busy. It can be slow. You probably had busy weeks and slow weeks. You guys get into May and June, your phone is going to be ringing off the hook. JRA has our call center here to help you. We charge per booking. So you only pay for when a job books. And guys, we don't have to take all calls. We can be your backup. So if this phone rings 4 times, you can then have it forward to us. We take your calls, we book the job. At that point, we get paid. But the nice thing is you get the job, you go take care of the job, and you get that income. There's a good chance you would have missed out on because you missed this phone. Check us out at JRA.com, 919-617-1975. Anything last minute before we go? We do have one more.
And Damon's come back on Facebook and said, what's the rough ROI on that?
Damon, I hate, we don't track ROI extremely close, and some of you business guys out there are going to wonder why that is. What I track is customer acquisition cost, and if you would like this spreadsheet that we did, I would be happy to share it. We run ROI numbers every once in a while, but it varies. This spreadsheet right here tells me the acquisition. We figure the number, figure out what your acquisition cost is per job. We figure out expenses. You then figure out what your allowable acquisition cost is. So in this case, for these numbers here, the allowable acquisition cost, it comes up at $216. Oh, this was on the $400 average. This is probably gonna, yeah. Okay, so let's lower this average here to $350. And that's gonna tell you for Junk Doctors, we have an allowable acquisition cost of $189. That means we can pay up to $189 for customer and at least break even. Anything under that on the acquisition cost, we make money. So that's $104 average per job. Acquisition cost is where it's at. This ROI thing, it's somewhat important, but if your acquisition cost, if you're making at least a little bit money on per job, you're gonna work out. This is where it gets fun. These customers, we figure junk removal customers are gonna use us about once every certain number of years. That's what's figured into here. So you paid, this was 1,000 customers that we paid $85,000. 85,000 for, and that customer right there is going to bring you over the course of 10 years, on average, that amount of money you spend right there is going to bring you about $945,000. If you do your job staying in touch with these customers, then you can keep them from having to go back to your Google ad where you're paying again, your Facebook ad, whatever. If you do your job, then the next time they're going to go directly to you, they're not going to forget about you because you did a great job. Track acquisition cost. I'm happy to provide this to you. Just email me, lee@JunkRA.com. Got anything else? Awesome, guys. Hey, really enjoyed this episode. Hope you guys found it valuable. Hope you're able to apply it and really grow your junk removal business. If there's anything that myself and our team here at JRA can do, please contact us, 919-617-1975. Check us out online at JRA.com. And please, 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 if you watch this, subscribe to our YouTube channel and give us a thumbs up or a thumbs down if you like or dislike today's episode. I am Lee Godbold. This is Junk Removal Authority. We will be back with you on Thursday at 12 noon Eastern Time. Y'all have a great day.